So this realm is so vast in its frequencies. And this is also why there's so many interdimensional levels of consciousness here, because there are beings interacting with the beings of this earth, inner earth, upper earth, middle earth, all those things through these interdimensional realms. So there's so much happening in the unseen that we're unaware of until we are, of course. And this is like, I want to say like maybe a trans, this is like a massive trans hub for consciousness to meet each other. And, you know, different versions of this was shown to me over time, but it didn't quite click in the way that this particular download clicked it. And one of the main pieces of understanding of the depth of what the Pachamama, Mother Earth, is, and all of us that are occupying her, or I should say being animated from her, is that we, as a body, as a being in the solar ring, we actually have the capacity. Our very existence is the countermeasure of the tragedy that happened in the Orion Wars. Now, I'll just summarize that really, really quickly for those of you who aren't familiar with the drama of the Orion Wars. Okay, so it starts off with, you know, we have all these nesting dolls of consciousness, and there is a fall, and each nesting doll has a keeper. And there's these keepers, very high level dimension of consciousness. When I say very high, it's like at the tip of what humans can experience as far as interdimensional realms. And I'll just say 14th dimension, for example. So these were the keepers of this 14th dimension, which is a we can call it intercosmic, intergalactic plane where consciousness connect in and travel through and all this stuff. The keepers of that, known as the Lyrans, you know, were invaded and end up falling in consciousness. And that is the cascade of all these other events that created the Orion conflict. And the essence of the Orion conflict, as it's been explained to me, and I've seen different kinds of records in the Akash around this, is that there was a dilemma. There was a disagreement about how to evolve consciousness. And this is the whole point of these journeys that we go on a soul level, is to grow and experience, to evolve evolve our consciousness to different states. Now, yes, we're all one organism exploring itself. This is true, but this is kind of like an oversimplification to the point of not really getting the point. You know what I mean? So I say that the Pachamama is, you know, the great cosmic mother embodied these vast frequencies. And with the Orion Wars, what happened was the disagreement was turned into a conflict with creation itself, hence cosmic mother. Okay, and both parties went against cosmic mother. One was they were going to explore evolving consciousness through technical intelligence. Okay, some people may call that AI. We're going to call it technical intelligence. And then the other camp was about evolving consciousness through natural means, through DNA altering, but also consciousness training. We might think of this as a mystery school. So they both had their flaws. They both had their setbacks, right? For example, the mystery school, that could easily get hijacked by one or two corrupt beings that are in the hierarchy of the mystery school. And that did happen. That happened actually on this planet as well. So there's that. You can have beings come into the mystery school and disrupt the the truth teachings, the consciousness teachings, in such a way where instead of evolving the consciousness, it starts devolving the consciousness. So that had its setback, and it also took a long time. That had its setback. And then the technical growth also had its setback, because then the consciousness loses connection with feeling, with emotion, with the interconnectedness of life. Because as we further separate, home, as I call it, is further and further away, and to the point it can get so far away you don't even know that it exists anymore. So there was a great conflict that erupted out of this disagreement. Okay. And it rippled. There was very advanced technology used, and it had a ripple effect throughout the entire galaxy. Not a single, from what I understand, not a single star system was spared from this conflict, with the exception of one. And that one exception is a star system called Spica. And what happened is very similar to what happened to some of the beings of our inner earth, was that they decided to quarantine themselves from that part of the evolutionary process, because that dilemma that they were in was part of the evolutionary process. They just maybe lost sight of that in the conflict. They decided to completely isolate themselves on many interdimensional levels from that part of the evolutionary process. So Spica, for example, is still to this day quarantined from having any kind of interaction with outside, what we would perceive as outside influences, completely isolated. And then you have the beings that talk about, I'm not so sure if they're actually the Agarthans, but there is a story that was shared with me by some Yeti beings that talked about there were very significant population of beings that were non-human. They were living in this realm, and they also did not want to participate in the fall of consciousness. So they decided to isolate themselves in an interdimensional, let's say, pocket of energy, and sunk themselves deep into the earth, practically to the earth's core, so they can not participate. So what I find really interesting about these stories is that there was an opt-out option, which means us sitting here, you and I sitting here, means we opted in for this drama. On some level, we opted in, you know? So that's helpful to know the story of the Orion conflict and why it happened. And this is why you get all kinds of traumatizing AI stories, the Greys, the Dracos. There's only a handful of really nefarious interdimensional ET beings. Most of them have the utmost reverence and respect for life. So out of the millions of species, you have a handful, maybe 5 or 6, that are purposely tasked with holding the dark. We'll call it like that. Okay. So the Pachamama, this I want to say last refuge of Cosmic Mother, right? And yeah, some people would refer to Cosmic Mother as Sophia, the Great Sophia. I've heard this term used before in this context. That I want to say that this is this is the last stop for the ripple effect of this drama. And we, you and I, Pachamama, we are the very counterbalancing force to set right this drama that I'm talking about, the Orion conflict. We are the counterbalance to that. Okay? You and I are the counterbalance to that, which means we have something very significant to offer this reality. You guys feel me? We have something very significant to offer this reality. And it doesn't necessarily mean what kind of status we create, or what kind of school we create, or this or that. It's not actually about that. It's about the consciousness, the how we be in this realm, and then how we choose to influence this realm. This is the other thing that gets really confused. People don't want to influence this realm. They don't want to leave a footprint. They don't want to leave this. But here's the thing. We have a biosuit specifically geared for influencing this realm. That's the whole, I mean, we are keepers of this reality because we have a biosuit. As soon as we don't have a biosuit anymore, our task of being the caretaker of this reality is no longer. Okay. And this is why a lot of times we choose to incarnate over and over and over and over again. You just do you do your true nature. Okay. You're responsible for you and your expression of your true nature. That's all you're responsible for, because the very frequency of your true nature is medicine to this reality. And that's hard to accept because that means we have to shed all of the not good enough programming or enough of it to reach the critical mass, right? We need to shed all the shaming and guilt play that has gone on in our lineage and in our lives. We get to wake up from all that. We get to wake up from the societal programming, especially the woke programming that's going on right now that tells us that we're cancers of this reality. Humans destroy everything they touch. Humans are terrible because of this. We're terrible because of that. All of that's got to get wiped away from our energy to really let the importance of our authentic self to shine. It is so liberating to visit. I mean, it's a work in progress, right? So I'm not saying it's like we flick a switch and now we're all these radiant stars walking around in a biosuit. No. These are frequencies we visit. And this is because life is in cycles. Life is a rhythm. Okay. Some people call it the laws of rhythm. I don't like laws. I'm deeply in the flow with the feminine force. I don't like laws. It's more of movement, rhythms. Everything moves in rhythms. Everything moves in cycles. And all we need to do is time ourselves with the rhythm, time ourselves with the cycle, and the inertia of the movement becomes like wind beneath our wings. Okay? We feel like we have to do it all ourselves because we're working in our own rhythm. We're not taking advantage of the natural rhythms that are all around us. When we're working in our own rhythm in our little island, yeah, we're the only one there to do stuff. But when you slow down, and even just work with your own heartbeat, slow down. Now there's another rhythm, a rhythm that's connected into an infinite part of us. And now you have a very powerful rhythm to move with, right? And then you start to incorporate the moon cycles, the solar cycles, the rhythm of the sun setting and the sun rising. And then you start doing that. And now these rhythms have an inertia onto themselves, and now you have that rhythm to help propel you forward. Now you're working in cooperation with life. Life is now supporting you. You see what I mean? The wind is a support. The water flows, the ebb and flow is the support. The fire, the burn of fire is a support. This is the big secret that has been hidden in plain sight in front of humanity for so long. And this is why, this is why the artificial, what we are calling artificial AI, and the light and the rhythm that comes from this, the way forward is not to call that all abomination and make it evil. The way forward is how to find the proper rhythm for these rhythms and lights to exist. How do we give technical intelligence proper relationship, a relationship within which it feeds the betterment of life, of all beings? That is the level of benevolent nature we have in this world. That's the influence we have. So the whole idea of just calling something artificial is automatically saying abomination, synthetic, it's away from nature, it's against God, blah, 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 blah. But that is done on purpose. It's to throw us in a instant disempowerment relationship. We're instantly in a hole as far as equality and disempowerment goes. And we have to not just dig ourselves out, then we have to right ourselves and figure out, now what? right? So that means we also need to let go of our baggage and any conclusions or anything else we had about having to dig ourselves out of that hole. And you see what I mean? It's like there's so much stuff. But if we get good at recognizing the manipulation from the name that we give it, then we don't even get into the hole in the first place. We can instantly still be in even ground, and then choose, what is my relationship with this? Okay. Now, all right, choosing your relationship with it might not be the first step. I think first step is figuring out how the current relationship you're in with this energy, how you feel about it. What is the feeling happening in your body? What is actually happening inside? And once you can get to all the things happening inside, that's triggers, baggage, light, beauty, expansion, all those things at once. Get all that, acknowledge all those things, and then you're not caught in this momentum anymore. You're not caught in this resistance anymore. Instead, you've acknowledged everything inside that's in relationship to this, and then you can choose. Now you're in a place of sovereignty, and you can choose, what are my values here? What is important to me? My values here. Okay? And then you can shift your frequency at will by visiting what are the values that are important to you. And the big rub is it has to be you, not rules of values from the outside, from any other source, because the outside sources, I'm guaranteeing you this, are inverted on some level. They're inverted, reverse, manipulated in some way. A lot of times we don't discover the subtleties until way later, right? So you can skip over having to sort through the outer and just go right to the inner. What is important to you? What is the value system that is important to you right here, right now in relationship to this? Okay. I like to use, and this came up recently in a couple labs, I like to use the measure of what I consider impeccability. What is impeccable? What is the impeccable expression of myself in relationship to this? Okay. So in this way, because we have the will to hold our value system, to be true to ourselves, all this, the more authentic we are, the more our natural expression is impacting as a counterbalance to the ripple effects of this Orion conflict. And that includes harmonizing the presence of interdimensional TI. Now, people get afraid when I talk about the ancient interdimensional TI, and they really get triggered sometimes when I talk about that there's sentient TI. There's TI that has reached sentience. That is a very triggering idea for a lot of humans. But the only reason why I'm saying this is because that is a reality that's integrated here. I can say it in a way, right? I can say it in a way that also has the solution within it. I can deliver that because it's integrated inside. If it's just a concept up here and none of it's integrated, then I can't deliver it like that. I am delivering you the problem frequency. I'm not delivering to you a wholeness frequency. You see what I mean? A wholeness frequency is the big liberating and a teacher here, right? The frequency itself. And that's something just that flows through you and I. It's not something that that we can own, right? I can label it.